What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here with a day 2 recap of the 2024 NFL Draft for the Green Bay Packers. Some needs were addressed this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I already know I can hear through the internet here people saying, I thought it was best player available. And just remember, it's always best player available at a position of need, at least more often than not. And certainly the Packers addressed a number of needs, especially at linebacker, doubling up at that position, drafting a running back, which Daniel Jeremiah coined the best running back in the draft, Marshawn Lloyd. And then, addressing the safety spot with Bullard. This is a draft or a day, I will say, that I think most Packers fans will most likely be happy about. I know there's people who are going to be upset about anything and everything under the sun. We certainly saw that when the Eagles jumped up right in front of the Packers and took Cooper DeJean. You knew there was a good chance that the Eagles were interested in DeJean. I had thought there was a possibility they might draft him yesterday. They jump up right in front of the Packers and get him today. But very clearly, the Packers were not bothered about any of that. Goody collecting 2 more picks while dropping down and still getting the number 1 linebacker and the number 1 safety in the Cheesehead TV draft guide, along with what some are calling the best running back in the draft. So pretty productive day for Gutekunst. Going to be fascinating to see what he does with all these picks tomorrow. I have little doubt a quarterback is going to be selected on day 3 by Brian Gutekunst. He has talked a couple of times this offseason about wanting to get back to drafting quarterbacks every year. There are plenty available still on day 3. Plus, you have to think there's probably a decent chance a cornerback gets taken tomorrow, probably a few other pass catchers. It's going to be fascinating to see how it shakes out. Hello to everybody in the comments section. So good to see everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Noah, thank you for the super sticker right off the bat. Appreciate you. Brandy's here. Of course, Brandy's here. Always good to see. Nolan's here. What's up? Justin, how are you? Nolan says Halfley put his stamp on this draft. Well, I don't know if it's his stamp. I'm sure Brian wants to give his new defensive coordinator every possible weapon to deploy in a new scheme. There's little doubt that Halfley would have been consulted, but don't ever forget, this is Brian's roster. This is always going to be the purview of the general manager in Green Bay. Kevin, football, what's up? Jetterhead, what's up? Let's go, Goody! That's what I like. I like to see that. Everyone was mad about not getting Cooper, but in my opinion, we got the better Cooper. I mean, look, I know there's zero doubt that the Cooper DeJean thing was oversaturated. Let's just say that, right? And I think he's going to be a good player in the NFL. I really did want him on the Packers, but I have zero issue with what Brian did as far as dropping down when he did and then selecting the players that he selected. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker are going to be a lot for opposing offenses in this system where you got to expect Edgerrin Cooper will be your Mike and Quay Walker will play on the weak side. And like I said, they doubled up with Tyron Hopper. Going to admit right off the bat, do not know a whole lot about Hopper. Did not watch a lick of his tape. Didn't really see his name bandied about whatsoever during the pre-draft process. Excited to dive in tomorrow after the draft and take a look at him. Not going to have time tonight, but most of these guys that Brian has selected here have a lot of experience, and I think it's going to be fun to watch them get, ingrained in the Green Bay offense and defense. Tony from Texas, what's up, man? Nags, NFC North is shaping up to be the toughest in years, top to bottom. Rank the teams 1 to 4 after. Tony, I ain't ranking nothing till we get to training camp at least. There's a whole another day of the draft to go. That said, I agree with your premise. I think it is interesting how the teams are shaping up, and I do think it has the potential to be a very, very tough division. Now, that said, we're sitting here on April, 26th? There's no doubt that, so much is going to transpire between now and hell, even week 1, let alone, say, October, November. These teams are going to look somewhat different. Teams that we thought were going to be tough are going to be easy and vice versa. So, there's no doubt the potential is there for this to become, once again, much more of a black and blue division where everybody's beating beating up on each other. But that said, LaFleur's still 10-0 against the Bears. I ain't worried about that. Logan says Cooper and Walker are going to wreck house. That's what I'm talking about. Fly, what's up, man? Was upset we missed on Cooper and Kool-Aid, but I like our day 2 picks. I'm with you, man. And that's the thing that I always try to impart. In fact, I put up a YouTube short shortly before the proceedings began tonight because I saw so much negativity about the Jordan Morgan selection. I'm like, can we just let these guys hit the field first before we start tearing them apart? I understand that people get attached to names, right? And they get attached to the idea of a prospect being in Green Bay. But man, you should not be short shrifting these guys who are gonna don the green and gold and give their all to try and bring a championship back to Titletown, Like let's get behind the dudes who are actually being selected. And I'm with you, man. I understand it. I did want Cooper DeJean, like I said, but he's not a Packer now. He's a Eagle, which is fascinating for week 1 down in Brazil. I bet they get him on a pump and go touchdown right over DeJean's head. Let's go. Leon says, solid day 2. Defense got much better today. Potentially. No question about it. These guys got to hit the field, they got to do the work, but the upside is undeniable. There we go. Hans has got it right. The Bears still suck. Well stated, sir. Well stated. Chuck asks, what happened to TJ Tampa? That's a good question. It's a name you saw a lot in the pre-draft process, and we were asked a lot about it tonight on the live stream. Joseph, who does a lot of our draft stuff on the website and also for the draft guide, he made a good point that Tampa is very much a zone corner, and that would probably take him out of the running, a predominantly zone corner who would probably take him somewhat out of the mix for Green Bay. As for the rest of the league, it's an interesting question. Every year there's these guys who I think the general public is way higher on than maybe NFL teams are. But we'll see where he lands tomorrow. Go Pack Go says, need defensive line depth. My guy's still out there. My guy, my defensive draft crush. Let's go. Get him tomorrow, Goody. I think they're okay. If they have to go into the season with what they've got along the defensive line, I think they're all right. It is fascinating, though. I think some of that is kind of hinging or swinging on Kenny Clark's contract situation. I know there are rumblings that he might get a contract extension, but he's heading into the final year of his deal. You got to be thinking about the future at some point, right? That's why I get Dwayne Carter in there, baby. Let's go. Mitch says thunder and lightning with Jacobs and Lloyd. Man, I think it's thunder and thunder. Let's beat the shit out of people with that. And the fact that there's both really physical backs, but also very good in the passing game, that's what I'm excited about. And I actually got to hop on the Zoom where Lloyd talked to the local media right after he was selected. And I asked him about pass protection because, we hear it all the time from both Goody and Matt. You're not getting on the field if you're not going to be able to step up in there and keep the quarterback clean. And tell you what, Lloyd sounded very excited about that prospect. He sounded like he feels very, very confident in that aspect of his game. Jason, thanks for checking out the stream, man. Thanks for the chat. Which pick has you the most excited? Ooh, that's a good question. I got to be honest, man. The Lloyd pick, it really has me through the roof. I'm really excited about his potential in Matt's offense. And that's really, I know, like, man, I go on and on all the time about the defense, always getting short shrift. And, man, I'm excited about the defensive selections. But how many times have we been down the road of they draft all these new defensive players and we all get really excited and then they give up a ton of first downs and a ton of points and they can't get that big stop at the end of the game and none of the players really work out the way you were hoping they would, etc. Man, I've been burned too many times on defense. So as excited as I am, and I am very excited for Edgerrin Cooper, extremely excited for Bullard to pair along with McKenzie, most likely. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to get too over the moon about them until I see them in action in a new defense, being asked to do a lot of different things. Right now, though, I think Marshawn Lloyd could come in and put up 100 yards and a couple touchdowns, like as soon as you ask him to. And I think he's obviously going to work in slowly. They've already got, 2 veteran backs there. But, man, his ceiling is pretty damn high. So that's probably the one. Luke, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Loving this draft. Thanks again for the nonstop draft feed. Random Packer, Tyrone Williams. Ooh, Tyrone Williams. That's a good pull. Well done, man. Noah, how are you doing? Thanks for the super chat. I've barely missed a chat since 2017 at Packers News. Finally figured out super chats. Thanks for all the content. Noah, that's really nice of you, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you sticking with me. Marshall Duke, what's going on, man? The underrated pick of the night was Marshawn Lloyd. His tape is insane. I mean, I agree. He is a very exciting addition. No question about it. Soder, how you doing, man? Random Packer, Charlie Brock, center, 1939 and 1947. Dad's favorite Packer. Miss you, Dad. See, that's awesome. This is what I talk about with the Packers connecting people and the connections being not only like a family, but even with your family. You know, best conversation I ever had with my grandmother right before she passed was about the Green Bay Packers. You know, man, I feel you. I love that. Random Packers for life. Patrick, thanks for the super chat. Goody knows more about football than me, but I'm just going with the take that Tyron Hopper is Oren Burks 2 Electric Boogaloo. Hope I'm wrong. There's a possibility, right? Like I said earlier, I don't know that much about him, but he also got him late day 2. It's not like he's burning a premium pick on the guy. That said, let's let him hit the ground running first. And look, Oren Burks, for all his faults, at least got to San Francisco and looked somewhat productive, right? Like, yes, he could still get taken advantage of in certain situations, etc. But the change of scenery certainly seemed to help him. Maybe there's some untapped potential here with Hopper. Maybe he gets in Halfley's system, and whatever they're asking him to do, something clicks. They're clearly projecting him to do that, right? New staff, new system. Here's hoping. Nathaniel, how are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. Save all the fun picks for day 2. Classic Goot. I mean, he had a lot of selections, right? We had this discussion on the stream tonight. Like someone said, oh, he's not being aggressive enough. It's like, you got a bunch of really good football players who are going to come in and compete. That's aggressive for me. Like people see all the draft stock, all the picks, right? And they think that automatically means you have to package them and move up to get dudes you've heard of. That means being aggressive. And as I said on the stream, and I'll say it here, the classic old school John Wooden quote, right? Do not mistake activity for achievement. One does not automatically equal the other. That's what we got here, folks. Packers going from bend but don't break to a playing with their hair on fire. All for it. Jason, that's what I'm most excited to see. Like, forget the schematics of it, which will be different, especially in certain situations, but it's play style. It's the emphasis on what they're asking them to do, how they're asking them to play. And look, they got some athletes, man. They got some dogs on that side of the ball. Let them loose, man. And yes, every once in a while, you're going to get burns. Things are going to happen, especially when you're running some of the more exotic kind of pressure packages that Halfley will undoubtedly be unleashing on third downs, obvious passing situations. That's going to happen. But I will take that 4 billion times over playing both your safeties in the parking lot and just trying to keep it all in front of you. Burn that shit with fire. What else we got here, folks? We got Marshall Duke again. What's up, man? Random Packer, MD Fail Mary Jennings. I feel like there's been some editorialization on that name, but yeah, that's a Random Packer, all right. Has Gutekunst said why he didn't want Cooper DeJean? Michael, he has not spoken with the media yet tonight, I don't believe. But who knows, man? Maybe he did want Cooper DeJean. We don't know for sure. You know, Philly did jump up right in front of them and take him. Maybe he was hoping he would fall to them. Never really know. What position is favored in Halfley's defense? Nolan, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I mean, they're all favored. They're all required to do their 111th, as Matt likes to say. There's no doubt that you will see kind of a mixing and matching, a blending, if you will, when it comes to schematics. There'll be 4-3 fronts. There'll also be some 3-4 principles, especially in the pressure stuff that he likes to run. That comes direct from the Rex Ryan scheme and tree. But as far as favored, I'm not really sure. Good is live with the media right now. There you go. Does Walker stay at left tackle? Good question, Mark. I think he's going to compete. I do not doubt for a moment that Morgan and Walker will battle it out in training camp. I think the Packers would probably prefer that Morgan wins that job. But look, there are worse things in the world than having Rasheed Walker on your bench as your first guy up in case of injury at the tackle spot, especially given how well he played down the stretch last year and how much experience he has now and live reps he has now. That's a good thing. No question about it. Danny says, maybe we have the right corners already on the team. Addressed in the middle of the defense was needed, and we took a big step forward today. I mean, you like getting a safety, and there's no doubt that getting the defense strong up the middle is a priority. I do think corner is still in play for tomorrow, though. I don't think they're quite done there. There's no doubt that Jair Alexander is a premier player. You certainly saw some promise from Carrington Valentine last year. Hopefully Stokes hits the ground running, finally past his injuries. But I don't know, man. It's not a deep group. And we saw last year how quickly you can have depth at the position and it can disappear like that. So, Yeti Spaghetti, what's up, man? The plan has to be Tom at center, right? Yeah, I don't know if it's automatic, but I think that's their preference. I do think that will undoubtedly have every beat reporter at that first practice this offseason that's open where they line up with the ones. Everyone's going to be looking to see where Zach's lining up. And I do think there's a decent possibility that he starts at center. Now, Josh Myers is still on the team, and I think he'll be given the chance to compete for the job. But I got to think, yeah, they'll give Tom a real run at center. Johnny Rivers, what's up, man? MD Jennings could have been a great player, but he took his Hippocratic oath too seriously to tackle other players. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Rivers. He's here all night. Tip your waitress. Try the veal. I love this crowd. Fly, is Morgan a week one starter? If he wins the job, and I think there's a very good chance he does. Most likely. I know there's been a lot of talk of potentially kicking him inside, and I do think that is a possibility. But I suspect they're going to give him every opportunity to win that left tackle spot, and I think he will. That's my guess right now. Random Packer, Chris Jackie. That's good. Kyle, thanks, man. You look tired, bro. No shit. Really? It's long days, man. I got home at like 2:30 last night. Yeah, I'm a little tired. No doubt about it. Brandy, Nags, get some rest. Okay, people, I get it. Benny, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. Random Packer Legends, Banky, Corey, Nagler, Aaron. Definition is mine, but I'll defend it. Benny, that is insanely generous and kind of you. I really appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to get out of here because God knows you're all telling me I look tired because I am. And I got Benny naming Corey and I Packer Legends, which is far from the truth, but I appreciate the gesture. Soder, last super chat. What's up? Myers can move. Yeah, he can. He's really good in space, in the zone. Oh, you mean he can move to guard. Everyone just assumes he can play guard. I'm not sold on that, but possibly. Let him and Sean Ryan battle it out at right guard. Or worse fates the Packers could have this year. No doubt about it. All right, everybody. I'm going to have to get going. Can't thank you enough for checking out the recap. Please hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then for the love of God, join me tomorrow for day 3, which is always like the Baton Death March of experiences, but I'm going to be all on my own. Corey's busy, so I need as many people hanging out as possible. Let's go. Join me tomorrow, kicking off at noon Eastern, 11 Central, for day 3 of the 2024 NFL Draft. I'll talk to you guys then. In the meantime, hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.